Hello, champions. Welcome to the Self-Help Podcast, your weekly dose of motivation, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Diep, Pham, the creator of this podcast and your companion on the path of transformation. Here, you will discover all the right tools and the right mindsets to help you master your personal growth. Every week, we unlock science-backed strategies to help you master yourself, grow stronger, and level up in life. If you're ready to boost productivity, build confidence, and create lasting change, you're in the right place. And before we dive into today's episode, I want you to know that everything we cover, the resources, free templates, and actionable guides, is waiting for you right in the video description below. So don't stress about taking notes. Just listen, absorb, and when you're ready, grab your free Focus Mastery Toolkit from the description. This is my special gift just for you, for showing up, being here, and tuning in. It's my way of saying thank you, and a gift to help you put today's strategies into action. Now settle in, champions, because we're about to tackle one of the most important skills of the 21st century: how to stay focused in a world full of distractions. Let me start with a question that might sting a little. When did you last sit down to work on something truly important and actually finish it without getting pulled away? I'm talking about that deep, satisfying focus where you lose track of time because you're completely absorbed in meaningful work. If you're struggling to remember, you're definitely not alone. Here's a reality check that might shock you. The average person checks their phone 144 times per day. Yes, that's correct, and you heard me right. 144 times a day, which means once every 10 minutes during waking hours. And here's what's even more alarming. Most of us can't go even 30 minutes without getting sidetracked by something. Anything. Think about your last workday for a moment. Was it a masterpiece of focused execution, where you moved systematically through your priorities with laser-like precision? Or was it more like a chaotic jigsaw puzzle of half-finished tasks, constantly interrupted by the relentless ping of notifications, the magnetic pull of social media, and that nagging voice whispering that you should be doing something else? If you're nodding along with that second scenario, welcome to the modern human experience. You're navigating what I believe is the single greatest obstacle to personal and professional success in our lifetime: the crisis of distraction. We're living in what I call the age of attention warfare. Your focus has become the most valuable commodity on the planet, and every app, platform, and device around you has been engineered by teams of neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists to capture and monetize your attention. This isn't happening by accident, it's happening by design. The casualties of this war are staggering. We've created a collective experience of being perpetually busy, but rarely productive, constantly connected, but seldom fulfilled. We're suffering from what researchers call attention fatigue, experiencing heightened anxiety, and feeling the deep frustration that comes from knowing we're capable of so much more, but somehow can't access our full potential. But here's the truth that changes everything, and I need you to really absorb this. The ability to maintain unwavering focus is not some mystical gift that was randomly distributed to a lucky few. It's not a fixed personality trait you're either born with or without. Focus is a learnable skill. And just like building muscle at the gym or mastering a musical instrument, it can be developed, strengthened, and refined through deliberate practice. What I'm about to share with you isn't just another collection of productivity hacks that sound good but don't actually work. This is your comprehensive guide to reclaiming your most precious resource. We're going to journey through the fascinating science of your brain, expose the forces that are systematically sabotaging your attention, and arm you with a complete toolkit of strategies that you can start using immediately. By the time we finish today, you'll have everything you need to build what I call an unwavering mind, develop the superpower of sustained focus, and finally make real progress toward your most ambitious goals. So let's begin this transformation together. Before we can win this battle, we need to understand exactly what we're fighting against. Our modern world has become a landscape specifically designed to fragment your attention and recognizing the true scale of this challenge is your first step toward overcoming it. We are living through an unprecedented era of digital overload. From the moment your alarm goes off until your head hits the pillow, you're bombarded with digital stimuli. Work emails demanding immediate responses, team chat notifications creating artificial urgency, social media updates triggering social comparison, breaking news alerts manufacturing crisis after crisis. The list is endless and exhausting. This isn't just a feeling you have about modern life being overwhelming. This is a measurable reality backed by solid research. The sheer volume of information we're expected to process daily is literally exceeding our cognitive capacity. Think about it this way. Your brain evolved over thousands of years to handle the information load of a small tribal community. Now it's trying to process the information equivalent of entire civilizations, all day, every day. This relentless stream of information creates what scientists call attention fatigue, where your ability to concentrate on any single task progressively diminishes throughout the day. Your brain, which simply wasn't designed for this kind of high-speed, multidirectional information processing, begins to default to what I call surface-level thinking, instead of the deep, focused processing that actually creates value and meaning in your life. Let me share some numbers that reveal just how devastating this crisis has become. The economic impact alone is staggering. Businesses across America are hemorrhaging upwards of $650 billion annually due to distracted, unfocused employees. That's not a typo. $650 billion. But here's the statistic that should really grab your attention. Researchers at the University of California, Irvine conducted a landmark study that found something truly alarming. After experiencing an interruption, it takes an average person 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully return their attention to the original task. Nearly 24 minutes. And remember, the average knowledge worker faces dozens of interruptions every single day. With math like that, it's no wonder that actual productive work time has plummeted. One comprehensive study found that less than 60% of traditional work time is spent on genuinely productive activities. The rest is lost to what researchers call attention residue, the mental fog that lingers after each distraction. But the financial cost, as massive as it is, pales in comparison to the psychological toll we're all paying. The constant pressure to be perpetually available, to respond immediately to every ping and buzz, has become a significant source of chronic stress and anxiety in our society. A study published in the Journal of Computer-Mediated Communication revealed something deeply concerning. Individuals who experience frequent digital interruptions report significantly higher levels of anxiety and measurably lower life satisfaction. They're trapped in what psychologists call the FOMO cycle, fear of missing out, which drives compulsive device checking and creates a state of perpetual mental agitation. The cognitive costs are equally severe. The popular myth of multitasking has been thoroughly demolished by neuroscience research. What we call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, and this process drains massive amounts of mental energy while dramatically reducing both accuracy and the quality of our work. Studies show that people who are frequently interrupted by technology experience substantially higher levels of mental fatigue and make up to twice as many errors in their work compared to those who work in focused, undisturbed blocks of time. Now, you might be thinking, surely this distraction problem is unique to our digital age, right? Actually, the concern about information overload has been with humanity for centuries. But our current situation is fundamentally different in ways that make it uniquely dangerous. The ancient Greek philosopher Socrates was genuinely worried that the invention of writing would weaken human memory and diminish our mental capabilities. In the 12th century, Chinese philosopher Zhu Qi complained that the proliferation of printed texts was making people read superficially rather than deeply. Even during the Industrial Revolution, social commentators feared that the widespread availability of novels would lead to distraction, memory problems, and antisocial behavior. But here's what makes our current predicament uniquely challenging. Historical distractions were primarily external and environmental. You could walk away from them. Today's distractions are personal, portable, and psychologically sophisticated. They live in our pockets, they know our behavioral patterns, and they're engineered by teams of experts who understand exactly how to hijack our brain's reward systems. We've essentially traded the expansive sky for the confining screen, and the battle for focus has become an internal, moment-to-moment psychological struggle that follows us everywhere we go. To truly master the art of sustained focus, you need to understand the incredible machinery you're working with. Your brain isn't some mysterious black box operating on incomprehensible principles. It functions according to predictable, scientific laws, and by understanding these laws, you can stop working against your brain's nature and start leveraging its incredible power. Think of your brain as having a sophisticated executive suite, and the CEO of this suite is a region called the prefrontal cortex, located right behind your forehead. This is the most highly evolved part of the human brain, the feature that most distinguishes us from other species, and it's responsible for what neuroscientists call executive functions. Your prefrontal cortex manages an impressive suite of capabilities. It handles goal-directed behavior, helping you decide what you want to achieve, and creating strategic plans to get there. It governs complex decision-making, enabling you to weigh consequences, consider multiple options, and make choices that align with your long-term interests, rather than just immediate impulses. It's also responsible for emotional regulation, helping you manage your reactions, control your impulses, and respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. Most importantly for our discussion today, your prefrontal cortex controls your attention, acting like a spotlight director that decides where to focus your mental energy and what to filter out. When you experience distraction, it's typically because your prefrontal cortex has been temporarily overwhelmed or hijacked. So the entire project of developing laser-like focus is really about systematically strengthening your prefrontal cortex through targeted practice and environmental design. Your attention operates through two distinct systems that are in constant competition with each other. Understanding this competition is crucial for developing better focus. The first system is called top-down attention, also known as voluntary or executive focus. This is your conscious, deliberate focus that originates from your prefrontal cortex and is guided by your goals, values, and intentions. When you decide to read an important report, listen carefully during a crucial conversation, or work on a challenging project, you're engaging your top-down attention system. Constantly battling against this is your bottom-up attention system, also called reactive or stimulus-driven focus. This is your involuntary, automatic attention that gets hijacked by things that are novel, loud, bright, or emotionally charged. It's actually an ancient survival mechanism that helped our ancestors notice potential threats or opportunities in their environment. When your phone buzzes, when you hear your name called, when you see a notification pop up on your computer screen, your bottom-up attention system immediately captures your focus, often completely derailing whatever you were trying to accomplish with your top-down system. The ongoing battle to maintain focus is essentially a continuous tug-of-war between your intentional, goal-directed attention and the reactive, stimulus-driven attention that responds to every environmental trigger. A weak top-down system gets easily overpowered and hijacked. A strong, well-trained system can effectively suppress irrelevant stimuli and maintain its chosen focus even in chaotic environments. Now let me explain why it's so incredibly difficult to resist checking that notification, even when you know you should stay focused on your work. The answer lies in understanding one of your brain's most powerful chemicals, dopamine. For years, dopamine was commonly called the pleasure chemical, but cutting-edge neuroscience has revealed a much more nuanced and important role. Dopamine is actually the anticipation chemical the wanting chemical, the motivation chemical. It doesn't just make you feel good when you get a reward. It drives you to seek out things that your brain predicts might be rewarding. This creates what researchers call the dopamine-seeking reward loop, and understanding this loop is absolutely critical for developing better focus. Here's how it works in your daily life. First, there's a cue, like your phone buzzing on your desk, or a notification appearing on your computer screen. This environmental trigger immediately activates the second step, a craving. Your brain releases a shot of dopamine in anticipation of a potential reward, creating a powerful urge to check the notification to see what might be waiting for you. This leads to the third step, your response. You pick up the phone, check the notification, scroll through the app, respond to the message. Sometimes, and this is crucial, only sometimes, you receive the fourth step, a reward. Maybe it's an interesting piece of news, a message from someone you care about, a funny meme, or a piece of social validation. This intermittent, unpredictable reward schedule is incredibly powerful because it teaches your brain that checking notifications is an action worth repeating. The problem is that digital distractions create a hyperactive dopamine loop that literally rewards your brain for losing focus and abandoning your important work. But here's the empowering news. By understanding this loop, you can learn to recognize the urge for what it is, a chemical reaction, not an emergency that requires immediate action. You can choose not to respond, and over time, this weakens the loop and strengthens your ability to maintain focus. If distraction represents the enemy of productivity, then there's an ultimate state of victorious focus that has a name: flow. This concept was pioneered by psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and flow represents a cognitive state where you become so completely immersed in an activity that everything else seems to disappear. You've almost certainly experienced this state before. Maybe you were working on a project and suddenly realized that hours had passed like minutes. Maybe you were having an engaging conversation and lost all sense of time. Maybe you were playing a sport, creating art, or solving a complex problem and entered what athletes call being in the zone. Flow has several distinctive characteristics that make it the gold standard of human focus. First, you experience crystal clear goals, knowing exactly what needs to be done from moment to moment. There's immediate feedback, allowing you to adjust your actions in real time based on the results you're seeing. There's a perfect balance between the challenge of the task and your skill level. The activity is difficult enough to be engaging and stimulating, but not so difficult that it creates anxiety or overwhelm. During flow, your actions and awareness merge completely. You're not thinking about what you're doing, you're simply doing it with effortless precision. Most remarkably, distractions become completely excluded from your consciousness. The world outside your chosen focus literally fades away. There's no self-doubt, no worry about failure, because you're too absorbed in the process to entertain those limiting thoughts. Your self-consciousness disappears as your ego dissolves into pure action. Time becomes distorted in fascinating ways. Hours can feel like minutes, or sometimes minutes can feel like hours, depending on the nature of the flow experience. Flow represents not only peak productivity, but also a source of profound satisfaction and meaning. It's the pinnacle of human focus, and it's available to anyone who understands how to create the right conditions for it to emerge. Now that you understand the science behind focus and distraction, let's dive into practical strategies you can implement immediately. Think of this as your complete focus toolkit, designed to give you both quick wins and long-term transformation. The first principle is to engineer your environment for success. Your willpower is a finite resource, so don't waste it constantly fighting against a distracting environment. Instead, design your surroundings to make focus the path of least resistance. Start by creating what I call a fortress of focus. Designate a specific, sacred workspace that you use exclusively for concentrated work. This doesn't have to be an entire room. It could be a particular chair, a specific corner of your kitchen table, or even a favorite coffee shop. The key is consistency. When you repeatedly use the same space for focused work, you create a powerful psychological association that automatically signals to your brain that it's time to concentrate. Next, implement the principle of environmental temptation removal. Put your biggest distractions physically out of sight, and therefore out of mind. When it's time for deep work, place your smartphone in another room, or at minimum, in a drawer where you can't see it. That physical barrier dramatically reduces the dopamine-driven urge to check it, because your brain can't be triggered by what it can't see. Tame the digital chaos that's probably overwhelming your computer workspace. Use website blockers and app blockers to prevent access to distracting sites during your designated focus blocks. There are excellent tools available for every device and operating system that can temporarily block access to social media, news sites, or whatever your particular digital kryptonite happens to be. Practice what I call ruthless notification control. Go through every app on your phone and computer and turn off all non-essential notifications. Ask yourself, does this app need permission to interrupt my thoughts throughout the day? For most apps, the answer is absolutely not. Keep notifications enabled only for truly urgent communications. Finally, master your auditory environment. Invest in quality noise-canceling headphones that can both block out environmental distractions and signal to others that you're in deep work mode. Experiment with focus-enhancing audio. Some people work best in complete silence, others prefer instrumental music, white noise, or nature sounds. Find what works for your brain and use it consistently. The second major area is mastering your relationship with time and tasks. How you structure your work is just as important as where you do it. First, you must completely abandon the destructive myth of multitasking. Neuroscience has definitively proven that multitasking is actually just inefficient task switching that drains your mental energy and reduces the quality of your output. Make a conscious commitment to single tasking, dedicating your complete attention to one thing at a time. This alone will dramatically improve both the speed and quality of your work. Implement what's called the Pomodoro technique, one of the most effective focus methods ever developed. Choose a single specific task. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Work on that task with absolute undivided focus until the timer rings. Then take a short 5-minute break. After completing 4 of these cycles, take a longer 15 to 30-minute break. This technique works so well because it makes large, intimidating projects feel manageable by breaking them into small, achievable chunks. It also prevents mental exhaustion by ensuring you take regular breaks before your focus starts to fade. Upgrade from simple to-do lists to time blocking. Instead of just listing what you need to do, assign every minute of your workday a specific job by blocking out time on your calendar for each task. This prevents the decision fatigue that comes from constantly choosing what to work on next and ensures your most important work gets protected time. For even greater structure, consider implementing themed days where you dedicate entire days to specific types of work. Maybe Mondays are for creative projects, Tuesdays for administrative tasks, Wednesdays for meetings and communication, and so on. Learn to prioritize using the Eisenhower matrix, which categorizes tasks based on their urgency and importance. Tasks that are both urgent and important should be done immediately. Tasks that are important but not urgent should be scheduled for specific times. Tasks that are urgent but not important should be delegated if possible. Tasks that are neither urgent nor important should be eliminated entirely. Finally, implement the 2-minute rule. If a new task appears that you can complete in less than 2 minutes, do it immediately rather than adding it to your task list. This prevents small to-dos from accumulating and creating mental clutter. The third crucial area is priming your mind for peak focus. Your internal mental state is just as important as your external environment. Develop pre-work rituals that serve as powerful transition triggers for your brain. This might involve clearing your workspace, brewing a cup of tea, doing some light stretching, or listening to a specific piece of music. These rituals train your brain to automatically shift into focus mode when you perform them. Each morning, before diving into your work, take a few minutes to identify your most important tasks, or MITs. Choose the 1 to 3 activities that will make the biggest positive impact on your goals if completed today. This ensures that your peak mental energy goes toward your highest priority work, rather than getting consumed by busy work and reactive tasks. Take strategic, high-quality breaks rather than just powering through until you're mentally exhausted. The quality of your break matters enormously. Avoid what I call pseudo-relaxation activities, like scrolling social media or watching random videos, which actually drain rather than restore your mental energy. Instead, get up and move your body, step outside, do some deep breathing, or simply sit quietly for a few minutes. In our world of constant entertainment, learning to embrace boredom is actually a powerful focus-building exercise. When you feel the urge to reach for your phone during idle moments, resist it. Let your mind wander naturally. This trains what I call your distraction resistance muscles, and helps your brain learn to be comfortable with periods of non-stimulation. When internal distractions arise during focused work, and they will, use the capture method rather than trying to force them away. Keep a distraction pad nearby where you can quickly jot down whatever thought popped into your head, then immediately return your attention to your task. This prevents you from losing good ideas while also preventing those ideas from derailing your focus. Finally, establish a clear shutdown ritual at the end of each workday. Take a few minutes to review what you accomplished, note any unfinished items, and plan your priorities for the next day. This ritual signals to your brain that work time is officially over, allowing you to mentally disconnect and truly rest. While these immediate strategies will give you quick improvements, building lasting focus requires developing foundational habits that strengthen your attention like a muscle over time. If there's one practice that serves as the ultimate gym for your attention, it's mindfulness meditation. This is the most direct way to train your prefrontal cortex and build your capacity for sustained concentration. The basic practice is elegantly simple. Sit comfortably in a quiet place and focus your attention on a single object, typically the physical sensation of your breathing. Breathe naturally and simply notice the sensations of each inhale and exhale. Inevitably, your mind will wander. This isn't a failure, it's completely normal and expected. The moment of transformation happens when you notice that your attention has drifted away from your breath. This noticing is actually the exercise. Gently, without any judgment or frustration, guide your focus back to your breathing. Each time you notice your mind wandering and redirect your attention, you complete one repetition for your attention muscle. You're literally strengthening the neural circuits responsible for attentional control. This isn't just philosophical theory, it's measurable brain science. Research using brain imaging technology shows that regular meditation practice leads to physical changes in brain structure, including increased gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex and other regions associated with attention and emotional regulation. Start with just 5 minutes per day. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, gently return to your breath. That's it. As this becomes easier, gradually increase the duration to 10, 15, or 20 minutes. Your brain is a physical organ, and its performance is directly connected to the health of your body. You cannot expect to have elite mental focus while neglecting your physical foundation. Sleep is absolutely non-negotiable for cognitive performance. During sleep, your brain cleanses itself of metabolic waste, consolidates memories, and restores the neurochemical balance necessary for optimal attention. Adults who consistently get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep report significantly better concentration, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Create a sleep sanctuary by keeping your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Establish a consistent bedtime routine and avoid screens for at least an hour before sleep, as blue light disrupts your natural sleep-wake cycle. Your brain consumes approximately 20% of your body's total energy, so the fuel you provide directly impacts your mental performance. Focus on eating brain-healthy foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and complex carbohydrates. Foods like fatty fish, blueberries, nuts, dark leafy greens, and whole grains provide sustained energy and support optimal brain function. Avoid the blood sugar roller coaster created by processed foods, excessive caffeine, and simple sugars, which can cause energy crashes and attention problems. Regular physical exercise acts as a powerful brain booster. Movement increases blood flow to the brain, stimulates the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which supports neuron health, and helps regulate stress hormones that can interfere with focus. You don't need to become a fitness fanatic. Even a 20-minute walk, especially in nature, can reset your mind and significantly enhance your ability to concentrate for hours afterward. Let me introduce you to a transformative concept from Georgetown professor Cal Newport, called deep work. He defines this as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. Newport's central hypothesis is that the ability to do deep work is becoming increasingly rare in our hyper-connected world, and simultaneously, it's becoming increasingly valuable. Those who master deep work will thrive professionally and personally, while those who don't will struggle to create meaningful value. Newport suggests 4 different philosophies for integrating deep work into your life, and you can choose the approach that best fits your circumstances. The monastic philosophy involves maximizing deep work by radically minimizing shallow obligations. This might mean checking email only once per day, avoiding social media entirely, or structuring your entire career around periods of intense, focused work. The bimodal philosophy involves dividing your time into distinct chunks, dedicating specific periods, maybe entire days or weeks, exclusively to deep work, and handling all other obligations during separate, designated periods. The most accessible for most people is the rhythmic philosophy, which involves creating a simple, consistent daily habit of deep work. This might mean blocking out the same 90-minute period every morning for your most important work, regardless of what else is happening in your schedule. For those who have already mastered focus, there's the journalistic philosophy, which involves switching into deep work mode whenever you find a free block of time, even if it's just 30 minutes between meetings. At its foundation, the ability to maintain focus is fundamentally an act of self-discipline. It's the capacity to consistently say no to distractions and yes to what truly matters, even when the distractions seem more immediately appealing. Self-discipline is like a muscle that grows stronger with regular exercise. Start small to build confidence and momentum. If a project feels overwhelming, commit to working on it for just 10 minutes. Often, starting is the hardest part, and once you begin, you'll find it easier to continue. Build what I call bulletproof routines. Habits and routines automate your behavior, reducing decision fatigue and conserving your willpower for more important choices. A consistent morning routine, a pre-work ritual, and an evening shutdown routine can become the backbone of a disciplined, focused life. Make your desired behaviors easier and your undesired behaviors harder. This might mean preparing your workspace the night before, keeping your phone charger in another room, using website blockers during work hours, or deleting distracting apps from your phone entirely. Remember, it's much easier to avoid temptation than to resist temptation when it's staring you in the face. As we reach the end of our journey together today, I want you to step back and see the bigger picture of what we've explored. We've traveled from the intricate neural wiring of your prefrontal cortex to simple environmental changes, like putting your phone in another room. we've examined the science of dopamine hijacking and the art of creating flow states. We've covered immediate tactics and long-term lifestyle transformations. But the central message that connects everything is this: focus is not a mysterious talent that some people have, and others don't. Focus is a skill, a capability that can be systematically developed through understanding, practice, and environmental design. Learning how to maintain unwavering focus in our chaotic, distracted world is about far more than simply checking more items off your to-do list. This is about reclaiming your fundamental autonomy as a human being. It's about choosing, with conscious intention, where you direct your precious mental energy and life force. It's about trading a life of frantic, shallow reactivity for one of deep, purposeful engagement with what matters most to you. It's about becoming someone who can create real value in the world, rather than just consuming and responding to what others have created. The profound satisfaction that comes from losing yourself in a state of flow, from creating something meaningful with the full force of your cognitive abilities, from making genuine progress on your most important goals, is one of the most rewarding experiences available to human beings. This focused way of living is also the antidote to the anxiety, fragmentation, and sense of overwhelm that characterizes so much of modern life. When you develop the ability to choose your focus, you develop the ability to choose your experience of life itself. Don't feel overwhelmed by the number of strategies and concepts we've covered today. Feel empowered. You now have a complete toolkit for transformation. The journey toward an unwavering mind doesn't require you to implement everything simultaneously. It begins with choosing one single strategy and committing to it fully. Maybe you'll start with the Pomodoro technique and discover the power of working in focused sprints. Maybe you'll begin with 5 minutes of daily meditation and experience firsthand how it strengthens your attention. Maybe you'll simply charge your phone outside your bedroom tonight and notice how much better you sleep and how much more focused you feel tomorrow. Choose one strategy that resonates with you. Commit to practicing it consistently for at least 1 week. Master it completely. Then, when it becomes automatic, come back to this episode and add another tool to your focus arsenal. The war for your attention is absolutely real, and the forces trying to capture and monetize your focus are sophisticated and relentless. But you are not defenseless. You now have the knowledge, the understanding, and the practical tools to fight back effectively. The power to build a deeply focused life, a consistently productive life, a genuinely purposeful and satisfying life, is completely within your control. It's in your hands right now. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Self-Help Podcast. I hope you discovered something valuable, something you can immediately put into action to transform your focus and, ultimately, your life. If this episode resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our Tuesday morning releases. Share this episode with someone who could benefit from developing stronger focus. When we lift each other up, we all rise together as champions. Remember, I've put together all the resources we discussed today in the video description below. Don't let this momentum slip away. Download your free Focus Mastery Toolkit right now. It includes focus tracking templates, digital detox checklists, productivity planners, and step-by-step guides to implement everything we covered today. Or if you'd like to dive deeper, I recently published a book on Amazon Kindle titled The Focus Unleashed: Master the Art of Laser Focus and Skyrocket Your Productivity. Feel free to check it out, give it a read, and let me know if it connects with you. Again, thanks a lot for tuning in. I'm Diep Pham, the creator of this podcast and your companion on the path of transformation. Until next time, stay focused, stay motivated, and keep winning the game of life.